sessions. Would like to take off at this point in time for something we touched on briefly last week and look at it more conceptually, a little less technical based. The concept is basically one to introduce and bring into you and get you thinking about more and more to develop where to use your technique and how to pull off your technique. Again, the ideas of motion and going back, way back to compass drill and everything else, is to move into position to create a submission. No position, no submission. At the same point in time, having the position means knowing what you're doing with said position and what you're doing in trying to get there. One of the things I've talked about is isolating an area that you're trying to attack. Yes, you have an opponent. Obviously, you are trying to go after and defend against them. However, at this point, you're looking at chokes, locks to create submissions. Therefore, you need to set up for those. That's what we're going to take a look at more as a concept rather than techniques tonight. Once again, I will ask for and have and introduce my training partner along the way.
Is that what we're calling it?
Well, that's what we sort of refer to it.
Okay.
Be thankful I was only joking and absolutely nobody asked to see you get eviscerated this week. As I
You do
did.
that normally.
What?
You do it normally.
Yeah, but I promised to put it on video last week. But since nobody asked to see it, I guess we'll just hold it off until we get requests. Anyway, so if you would, on your back, head face that way, feet down here. We looked at last week, scoot yourself down, from a mount position, this being the opponent. At this point in time, unless I turn, I'm not attacking the legs. There's certainly plenty of attacks for the legs turning, but we're not looking at that at this moment. I'm trying to keep my weight off you here. Okay. So at this point, we are looking at isolating these planes. Now, again, the person's made up of parts. These are the parts we're trying to destroy or injure. Now, ground and pound, which is really why I took up the ground game. The ground striking obviously opens up a lot more avenues, which can be a lot more fun. But that being said, and that we're not doing that at this particular instance, we're looking at limbs. So we have the arms, we have the neck, okay? We have the airways, carotids, so for blood, airways. No, it's not nice. That's the whole purpose. We're not making chocolate chip cookies. We are doing bad things to other people. They are not nice. So, isolate. If you recall, using this as a takeoff spot, last week we looked at in moving somebody and they brought up an arm to defend, stepping in, and I'm going to try and be gentle this way, in isolating an arm. So you may recall, that's why I'm using this as a launch point. But we isolated. Oh, now he's going to punch me in the ribs. So perhaps that idea of being nice is a little off.
Hi.
Okay?
Ow.
Now, as you can see, I have his elbow here, and I'm just sitting here like this, and I was being nice, and then he's not being as nice as he could be as a uke. And so it doesn't look like I'm doing much. Okay? And really, I'm not. I'm bringing this knee in slightly. But because of the pinch, and I have this arm under the armpit, isolated, it takes very little. And since he was nice before, let me set this up, I have it pretty tight. Boom. Generally. Now, Again, make it worse. Once you have something isolated, and I mean really isolated and trapped, the damage to it, and this is why with arm bars and teaching arm bars in class, the students are probably sick of it with me talking about caution and being very, very careful. Because as you can see, I don't know what it looks like there, but there's very little motion here. And he's going into pain. Because the level of pain to damage is almost nothing. But, I digress. So again, we're looking at isolation, to trap. So, you know, we talk about mount and moving here. And again, he went into the bear hug position. A bear hug position is fine. Okay? He thinks he's good. I'm not allowing him to move his arms any further below this plane. I know his range of motion now. He can move here, but his shoulders are not moving any further. I know his plane of motion now. He's trapped. I have a great deal, even if he's a bear. Huge gap. I mean, he can crunch me, yes, but he's crunching me into himself. Anything in here cross-face is going to make him uncomfortable. Right along that jawline. If I'm nasty, I dig that elbow. Okay, but we're going to just cross-face in here. And that's going to let go. He's going to pop. As soon as he pops, I isolate. Now, for the sake of it, I want isolated here. I want isolated. Now all of a sudden, these are in the way. But we're playing this game. He's getting into this whole punch me in the ribs. See, as this progresses over time, over the weeks, he's getting more comfortable hitting.
I gotta get you back, brother.
And that's okay. Because then I don't have to be as nice as I've been trying to be. So again, we'll get into this thing of a lower mount, and you'll see people, you'll hear it isolate. You'll see this. Now, I mean, you can do this. I don't particularly flip for this unless striking is involved, because there's this space that I don't like that he can use. I don't like it, okay? I like to bury people. It's my idea. I want you buried and I want you demoralized. So I want to isolate you. Now isolation, I just mentioned demoralization. Isolation comes on the physical, but never forget, in the fight game, okay? It's also mental. I'm going to spiritually and mentally demoralize and isolate him. I'm going to isolate him from doing what he wants. Once that happens, he starts to break down. His head will start to break down. His emotions will take over. He'll panic. He'll react. He'll overexpend energy. So I don't flip for this. You certainly can use this here, but I don't feel it. I don't like the control. I'm not saying other people use it well. I don't. I don't flip for it. Me, I've talked about it before, keeping here. I've talked about that split mount. One's forward, one's back, except in this case, I will really isolate. I will really take this arm out of play. Burying it. Now I'm being a little nice. There's no weight on this thing yet.
Yeah, but no, it will be.
I'm not going to be, no, because I don't want to do anything to this arm. I don't want to, okay? But you see how he's moved his head? I've just shifted it a little bit. I've restricted his head motion. Okay? That's what I want to do. I want to give him less motion. I want to keep this arm out. Now, yes. Can I torture this arm?
Yes, stop.
Yes. But at this point, I'm not. What hurts? I'm barely putting any weight on you. I could be squashing you until
My
I run.
arm? Thank you.
Okay. So you're going to have to just recreate in your mind the amount of pressure I could put and was putting. He doesn't realize the amount of pressure that can be put. And you drive it right through. Boom. So I'm relieving it to be a good person. Unless you punch me in the ribs.
You popped it straight.
So now I've taken this arm out. I'm in a high mount. Normally I would not stay up like this, okay? Unless I was ready to move and wanted the space. I would continue to demoralize. I've got the arm out. He's only got one arm around. That arm around, because it's singular, unless there's a gi, is totally isolated. It's just flapping in the breeze, which is what I wanted it to do. It's up here, it's isolated. I can even come up. Now I've shifted the mount to the other side. This went to the back position, this went to the up position. Don't swear, we're gonna get an R rating on this. Okay. Anyway, he gets really split. This is very exposed, obviously. Okay? This can be done either side. Look, I can trap it here, same arm bar. I can gift package around here. From here, isolation, isolation, and so is his head. Okay. And I'm still wedging in the body and don't want him to spin. He's got more ability to move because his hips are free back here. He does. But I'm still digging in with one foot to keep that blocked. Okay? This knee is up over the arm, still blocking. I can put a lot of pressure if I need to. Now, in this position, depending on what, slow shift, and I have the head, I go into the triangle. Okay, the arm's here. I'm not going to do the full triangle on him, but you can see it's just a shift. Arm's already in. It's a triangle. The arm's done, and so is the neck and head. Trying to be gentle, my friend. I'm moving slow.
Thank you.
I appreciate you putting up with it week after week. But the isolation has occurred. The control has still occurred. Okay? From here. Now granted, I keep attacking the same arm. It's just one side. Obviously, this shifts to either side depending on what you use. Here, obviously, I've isolated this far enough. All of you are seeing a step over arm bar. Okay? Not only have we seen it before, Verge very succinctly and carefully went through this arm bar. Okay? So instead of the arm bar from the top, for whatever reason, stuff has occurred, boom, boom, boom. He's got it in, it's braced in here. I've trapped it. See, he feels tight because he's not used to it. I've trapped my body. I can tricep trap it. Okay? All these things isolate. Which way are you getting squashed, boy? I don't even understand. I'm not putting that much weight.
Lungs.
I'm going to start tickling you in a minute. You wet the rug. But anyway, you can see here. And I've already got the arm isolated. Boom. Right to the arm bar. So, I've isolated one. I'm back a couple steps where I was here, high and low. Again, I've got the arm trapped. I'm curling my toes to take the weight off his arm. But for whatever reason, I really just want to take both arms out. This is miserable when someone really has it well. Come up over both. Okay. Now, you got to be quick. He's swinging his legs up. He knows the right thing. He's going to put both feet under my armpits and launch me right through that camera. So I have got to splay out. Now, crappy thing to do, but it's done.
Oh.
I'm trapping the head straight. And then I'll bury it right on that nose. I'm not going to do that to him. We used to do this in the old days. It was a drill. It was a panic drill. And the guys, you let this happen to you. And it is brutal. You pray either to kill the person who's on top of you or that you will die. Those are the two things you hope for. Neither one happens. Okay? That's an old school. Boom. And you press into the face. He's instantly turning his head. You wouldn't allow it. You just bury it. It's ugly. Anyway, for the sake, but I have the head isolated. So he's gonna obviously turn his head, and I'm gonna bury him. Okay? Now, from here, I have this now just isolated. It's just it. Again, this is not a position to stay in a long time. Not make, well, you stay there for more than a couple seconds, I'm gonna be popping right out. Yes, absolutely. All this is happening in motion. But the idea is isolation. For a brief second, I popped up, trapped both arms. All of a sudden, he's feeling his position going, oh crap. I'm putting the weight on those arms, making him hurt. I can even give him a little bicep crush.
Can you not?
Can you not? Well, that depends on whether it's a match or not. So I can create that problem. Bury him down. And I start to crank. Come across. And choke. Isolation. How we doing? You good?
I'm breathing.
So, we're in here. Again, isolation. Okay? Taking out limbs, removing his ability to do what he wants to. Oh, he's gonna punch me in the stomach. You're nice. You're nice. I've got the high ground.
Oh no.
Anyway.
Oh, in your face.
Great. Well, just remember, anything I do, gravity takes down. Anyway,
Fire.
so, again, isolation, taking things away. Here, depending what's going on, I'll hook a leg. A grapevine, okay? Grapevine from the top is nasty, okay? Used right, you just pop out. But it's taking away his motion and torquing. Doesn't feel good. Now, can he resist it? Yes, but he's gonna resist it by doing something he doesn't want to. He's gonna have to pop. If he's not knowledgeable, he's gonna have to pop that by doing something he doesn't want to. Okay? This is when transitions to the legs can occur. Because he pops, you turn, something's available that you can now crank. Oh, he's not liking that. Now I'm putting pressure here. Isolation. Now, granted, it's a simplistic move. People with a little bit of technique moving very quickly away from that. Because they know what to do, they know how to shift and everything else. But the point is, you start adding it all together. You tweak them here. At the same time they shift, you use that opportunity to bury an arm. At the same point in time, you start to crush their weight. At the same time, they go to resist by putting up an arm. At the same time now, he's trying to turn it into escape the whole thing. No problem. Step up. And that's the whole point. It's move upon move upon move upon move. Each one of them, isolation to try and capture a limb to create a problem for the opponent. Without doing that, without having an idea of isolating or something, you're just hoping, oh, that fell over there. Okay, now I can do it. It may happen. I'm not saying it won't happen. Sometimes people are doing stuff and they're just like, oh, crud, and it drops. It happens. Shifting weight, flops over, it happens. But for the most part, you have to create a situation where this occurs. Now, you say, oh, well, you're on top of the guy. It's easy then. Well, there's some truth, maybe. Move on, away. So, have to shift a bit here, please. So again, we're getting ready to combat. Sit back here. Sit back, control the hips, sit back there. So now we're here. He's got his defense, we're working. Okay, I'm trying to close. He's keeping his posture up and all this stuff. So now, again, it becomes the same thing. This is why the closed guard becomes a little bit less useful. Gives you less opportunity. The butterfly guard, the spider guard, open guard give you more uses for your limbs to attack and isolate. So again, we're in here. Now, people know from class the classic triangle. One forward, one dump. This is to isolate. But the attack's here. But it is to isolate all of this. But that's the purpose of it. It's isolation. You want to capture. But there are a number of ways here. I'm dragged. Now I've isolated him to a side with this arm. Now at this point I'm not going to stay flat. Why should I? I've isolated this hand. He wasn't sure what was going to happen. Right? Same idea. Isolate. Oh yeah, I'm moving into an arm bar. As soon as he flaps on his back.
Arm, solid.
And boom. Please. So, now, again, hopefully my feet are in the picture. The same grapevine we talked about. See, you can escape. This is good. Now, if he keeps going, that's okay. Bam. I'm going to block him out from moving. Isolation. That's the lower part that starts to come into play. I've got the arm. I can't push him through. I'm there. If he flops, this is fine. Again, I've used the leg to isolate his body from moving here. We're right back to where we go.
No.
Good? Cute. Yeah, you sure? So again, I like to control people with the legs down here. I like to do this. We've certainly seen the half guard. Now, pause it for a moment. Open. Our half guard we close. I like to torture people with my half guard. So. Good.
Yep.
And I'll split them and stretch them. A lot of pressure. And it's good containment because I can stretch a taller person by isolating that leg. I can get them down off the top of my chest. I can move them down, isolate, or isolate. At this point, sweep. We're almost out of frame. That's why I didn't keep going. Yep. My cameraman's trying to reposition me. Here. Slightly angled, please. There we go. It's like talking to a horse. I would make a bad pun there, but I'll just leave it. I think you guys can probably figure it out if you know me well enough. So again, here. Turn, they can't quite see your side. Okay? Can I keep this here?
Yep.
Soft a little bit. As you cross your left. Cross. Pop. Pull through. Can even just crank. I just trap both arms for a moment. I'm hinging him on his elbows. So he's got his posture here, and I'm going to pin it here, just to stop his motion. I like to grab either behind the tricep, in this case right behind the elbow. Gives me a very, very good grip. Okay? If he tries to push the arm forward, that's fine, that's the way I want him to go. If he tries to pull it back, well, neither one of us are going anyplace because you're trying to pull it through my leg. So not much is going to happen unless I start to slip it on him. He's pulling it back, pulling it back, pulling it back, pulling it back, pulling it harder. Now I let him.
Yep.
Up. Break. Break.
Oh.
It's all right. Anyway, so really, again, the Kimura, guillotine, triangle, Americana, all these things are based on this concept of isolating. You can call it wherever you want to. I'm sure people have as many names for it as there are letters in the alphabet. I'm sure. I like to isolate. Okay? That's the way I refer to it. That's the way I use the concept in my own head. Isolation. And again, the idea is along the way, if I don't want to submit you for a period of time, or I feel like, well, maybe I can't quite lock you up enough, I'm going to use this isolation to, as I said, physically, mentally, and in part spiritually, demoralize you, wear you down to a point where you make enough mistakes, then I have you for sure. Okay? Again, I don't want to muscle it. We all do, but I don't want to. I would like to be able to just move to that position and have you make that mistake to really capitalize, so I can really isolate. When it's really isolated and you really, someone does it to you, I mean, for the most part, they don't usually even have to, once you get to a certain point, get you with the submission. You just sort of like, that's tight. I know it's happening. Just admit it. I mean, I referred to many friends over the years. I have a friend of mine who has a very, very brutal leg triangle. Okay? He and I have fought stubbornly with me in that freaking thing for minutes. Okay? It is only through sheer stupidity and stubbornness that I keep going. I have won sometimes and got free, and I have lost sometimes and definitely attacked. The times I have broken free has been an inordinate victory for me. The fact that I burned so much energy doing it meant that I lasted probably another 15, 20 seconds. I took my victory where I could. Again, I was isolated. I was demoralized. I had a brief surge of hope, only to be dashed completely on the rocks. Okay? All of these martial arts are more than a physical game. They are a mental and spiritual game. Please weigh that in your training sessions. Think about that, the concept. All the great writers, Sun Tzu, of course, Musashi come immediately to the forefront. They dwelled on this. You should think about this. But anyway, isolation. That is the lesson for tonight. So, with that, I will bid you all adieu. Hope to see you soon. Thank you very much for tuning in. Good night.